Hey, this is Dave at DA Griffin Hobby. Today I've got a project I've been wanting to work on. I have two of the 2032 Alco Erie engines, and I wanted to take this extra powered unit I had and make this a powered AA unit. You can't just put two powered units together because the E units might trip differently. So how do you get around that? What do you do? Does it have to be permanent? So my goal here is to take these three units and give myself two powered units that I can use either together or separately. I don't want to make any permanent changes because I want to be able to return this to the way it was. I don't want to impact the value or the function. I will be able to easily swap the second A shell back onto the dummy frame if needed. I've got the two powered units. How do I get them to operate in unison? Both units have an E unit, but I only need one. So if you think of this as one of the dual motored F units, that's essentially what I'm going for, except with the connection between the two of them. Both units function well, so hopefully trying to get them to function together won't be a problem. I'm going to take these three wires from the E unit. I'm just going to cut them. I will reattach those later. So what we have here, we have the power wire for the coupler. I'm not going to touch that. The power wire from the pickup, the power wire to the light, which I'm just going to attach to the pickup on this unit because I want that to function separately from the other A unit. Okay, so these wires have to be replaced, but for the time being, it will work for the project, at least to see if the idea works. So I tried to clean them up a little bit. They were corroded and kind of nasty, but okay, so I got a cheap set of wire connectors on Amazon. I'm going to use those. I've got a Mac Tools wire crimper here. Works very well. I'm going to place each wire in there and crimp it. Hopefully without messing it up or pinching my hand. Okay, so I had a little trouble there, but we're back on track here. What have I done? So far, I made two harnesses. You can see there, 3 wires from each, blue, black, and gray. This is the front A unit. The blue wire soldered to the side of the motor, the gray wire soldered to this side of the motor, and the black is soldered to the middle. And on the other engine, the wire colors stay the same side. The colors are reversed if they're both facing forward, the same if they're facing away from each other. You'll see blue is on the right, blue is on the left, gray is on the left, gray is on the right. They're flipped. If they were not flipped, they'd pull apart from each other. This would be the same wiring setup as in one of the dual motored F units, except that we're going from one engine to another. We have the front motor, the back motor, and the E unit. And you'll see you have 3 wires running from one motor to the other. That's essentially all I have done with these two, except I've put a connector in the middle since it's 2 separate engines. When you connect them together, both motors are operating off of this E unit. Now, this is huge. This is a lot bigger than I thought it was going to be. So if I were to do this again, I would find much smaller connectors. Also, I think instead of 3 wires, I would go with 4 and run from the power pickup on this unit to the E unit on this unit just to get more current pickup. The next step is reinstalling the E unit to the second A unit so that when I'm not using both of these together, I can use them separately and still have full functionality. To reattach the E unit on the second unit, you need to connect 3 wires to a connector that will meet up with this one. This wire here from the fingers comes up and also attaches to power. Then these two get attached to the connector, and the one wire from the bottom set of fingers comes up and is connected to this connector as well. The 3 wires that are coming off the E unit here to this connector now are the same 3 wires or 3 connections on here. They correspond to where I took them off of initially. So you just snap the harness in, and now it will function just as the other engine will. Well, as you saw, each unit can run separately. Each one has an E unit, but they can also run together. Now, if I try to run them separately right now, you see they're running different directions because each one is operating off its own E unit. If I disconnect this wire and connect it to the other engine, I am bypassing this E unit. It's completely disconnected now, other than the power coming up from the center rail, which is powering the light on this unit. Everything else is coming from this unit and this E unit. So now, when I give it power, they operate together. It's not perfect, but it works. It's given me the flexibility to have 2 units with a motor, or a double motored AA setup. What if I want to run them together but only want to have one powered? Well, I still have the dummy frame from the original AA set that I can just swap the shell onto, or get another shell at some point and use that. So I can take one and put it on one track, leave that one on that track, and run them independently. Now, this was mostly a trial run to see if it would work and how it would work out. So if I'm going to keep this, I'm thinking I will look for much smaller connectors and hopefully ones that are black so they won't be as obvious. I would assume then I would run the harness through this spot here and maybe secure it to the underside of the frame. And then I could just snap the two together when I wanted to use them. The wires are too bulky for this setup, but they work. And that was the main idea, was to see if that would be feasible to use 2 motored units. As you can see, the shells are coming off because the wires are just too much. So I think in the future, I'm going to rewire this again with a much smaller connector, add in the power wire, and then route the wires under the frame so that the shell can be left on. So that's my project for the last couple days. Thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe, and comment. Let me know what you think. Let me know if you have any suggestions for this project. And see you next time on DA Griffin Hobby.